Hello, everyone, and welcome to Class in Session, the US Chess Podcast, where we spotlight women who are using chess not just as a game, but as a powerful tool for empowerment, education, and change. These women are breaking barriers, building confidence, and inspiring the next generation, one move at a time. I'm very excited for today's podcast to have Evie Laskaris. Evie is a 17-year-old. She is very inspiring. I'm looking forward to sharing her story with you guys and also learning more about her. I really appreciate you coming on this podcast. Evie, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, how you got started into chess, and what was the passion to stay into the game?
So I began playing chess when I was 7 years old at the very end of first grade. I remember my brother at the time, my younger brother, went to a different school where he had some friends that started picking up chess themselves. And I remember he brought up the game to my mother, and she decided to have us just begin to learn the basics. And I remember we got a Chess Kid account, each of us, and we just started learning the game. But the Chess Kid lesson plan is really fun, especially for like my kids my age. So I remember going through the lessons and falling in love with the game just as I was going through the lessons. And then I started playing online on Chess Kid, which is really safe. You just play against random kids. And then I did my first tournaments in second grade when my school, which has a chess club, just decided to host these occasional 3-round unrated, sometimes untimed tournaments. And those were really fun. I remember the first one, I actually got second and my brother got first, which was really exciting and inspiring for me. And then I remember competing in the K-3 unrated Super Nationals in Nashville in second grade. It was the 6th Super Nationals.
So that was
and I got
2017.
Yeah, 2017.
Nice. Maybe we met there. I don't know.
I remember actually meeting a professional female player there. I don't think it was you though.
I'm not sure. I was there though, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got 7th place, so top 10 gets trophies, and I got a trophy. And I remember actually there was only one other girl in the top 10 and she got 5th place. So we were kind of just there chilling. It was really fun. And that was just a really surreal experience for me. And I think with that really positive, uplifting environment and also some victories, however small, I was able to get a rating and start proceeding to compete more as I got older.
That's really exciting. And it's great to see that, from the way you're talking, that you and your brother, you didn't really have much of a rivalry, but rather supporting one another to...
Yeah.
That's not something that we always see. He's 1 or 2 years younger than you?
He's 1 year.
1 year. Okay. So he was 6, you were 7 when you first started, and you guys kind of got into chess online, basically on Chess Kid, from what I'm hearing. Cool. Did you later, once you competed in the Super Nationals, did you talk to your mom, maybe asking about having some lessons and continuing further, or did you and your brother continued your online playing and?
Yeah, we kind of just continued playing online. I never really got seriously coached in chess. I kind of been mainly self-taught through puzzles and rapid games generally.
That's pretty awesome. What's your favorite part about chess?
My favorite part is probably the strategy, the strategic ideas behind the chess game. I'm actually not a big fan of opening theory because I feel like that's a lot of memorization. But when the middle game starts and you're really deep into the game and you kind of have to think, what's the best move here? That is always my favorite part. And also end games when there's fewer pieces, that real strategy element really comes to life. And that's just really exciting for me.
I love that you said that. Those are my favorite parts of the game too. I'm not a huge opening specialist. It's always tough indeed to work on openings, but these days with the existence of computers and development of computers, we have to try to spend a bit more time. And this takes me to my next question, which I know you're very passionate about, math and statistics. Tell me, where did you get that passion from?
Just about math and statistics
Yeah,
in general.
yeah,
I think the reason why I really like chess puzzles is very similar to why I like solving math problems. Just that idea that you're kind of just searching for a solution,
hmm
and then that like click when you find the solution, even if you didn't get the answer yet. It's really satisfying, and the chase for the answer becomes really fun. So I was able to like those two passions kind of are very connected in that way. So in terms of data and statistics, I just know that that's like a really common form of applied math. And also just analyzing trends is also similar to chess puzzles and math problems in the sense that you're trying to find kind of a solution per se. So I always just kind of veer towards that when thinking about how math is used in the real world.
very. It's very interesting to hear. I mean, before we got into the interview, you're mentioning you believe a lot of chess players enjoy math, and I believe they do, but I don't know how many of them are really very good at continuing. I come from a family where my grandma and my mom were actually math teachers.
Oh
They
wow.
both finished. Yeah, my grandma is occasionally still tutoring at her age, which I find very inspiring because it does kind of like chess has a way of keeping your mind sharp, remembering all these formulas to solve things. And I love your comparison to chess, where you're solving things, and just being able to find the final solution is just kind of exciting. And yeah, talking about that, I know you are a junior now,
Yes.
and you use your passion for chess and statistics and math to talk about to do a little bit of research in why there aren't so many females staying in chess. Tell me a little bit about your findings and what was the drive to get into that study.
So I was always interested in exploring data, as I told you.
Yeah,
And obviously, I also really like chess. So I started searching for opportunities with colleges. And I knew that UT Dallas was a major college for chess. They hosted the President's Cup multiple times.
right.
And I also live in Texas. So it made sense to reach out there. And actually, there was this lady, and she named Dr. Root, and
Yes,
she got me this opportunity to analyze the President's Cup, which is, as you know, because you've competed in it,
I did.
the highest collegiate chess tournament in the US. So I was just studying the past 25 years and why there weren't as many women. And there's a lot of factors. Thankfully, and this is an old factor, that whole idea that women aren't as intelligent or capable as men, which was sadly perpetuated by some of the most famous chess names today. It's like that has mostly died down. But I mean, basically completely, I
Mhm.
would say. But the issue I feel in terms of that social sense, at least in my personal experience, is it's not the fact that guys in tournaments that I go to come up to me and say, ha ha ha, you're a girl, you can't play. It's more like they tend to gravitate more towards each other than towards me, which makes sense because I'm a girl in a room full of guys. So it's just kind of isolating. So I guess that might be one reason why that we still have a low percentage of women. But I think the main reason about why you see more men professionally is because it's kind of like for chess skills, it's kind of like a bell curve. And if you take the top 200 men in this like bell curve of skill, you're going to get a lot towards the far right because there's so many men who play versus because there's so many fewer women. If you take the top 200, it's going to be more towards like that upper part of the bell curve. It's like going to cover a bigger part of the bell curve because there's fewer women. So that's why in the President's Cup you saw so many fewer women than men.
It's interesting that you chose that. I know Dr. Root. She has a PhD in education, and now she's teaching at UTD. And I've had the pleasure of interviewing her on a number of occasions or talked to her. Um, it's um, it's certainly a topic that's often discussed by people, because I think even with US chess, we're trying to find ways to keep more females stay into the game, and it's always a I don't want to say sensitive topic, but certainly something that we want to talk more, because I think we, even us females, have different opinions as to why we stay into the game or not. But
Yeah.
it was interesting to know, like, maybe your opinion. You said you were passionate about chess, and you try to, just kind of focus on the areas that you liked. But do you think there's something particular that a particular reason why you maybe didn't try to get to be even stronger, or you felt that you were attracted by other things, or
Yeah. My relationship with chess has been like on and off, I would say. When I was in elementary school, I started competing a lot.
Mhm.
But then when I went to middle school, especially with COVID, I was kind of less attracted to the game.
I
I
see.
hate to admit. I remember learning how to code, and I was really interested in that. I picked up an instrument. I learned how to play viola, and I was in sports, competitive sports for the first time. So in middle school, it was kind of interesting, my relationship with chess. But I remember starting to compete again in like eighth grade briefly, and then um, when I was a sophomore in high school, I actually got injured, and that's when I kind of realized, well, if I'm taking a break from sports, I always have chess. So I went back to competing in chess, and I improved a lot really quickly. And I think that's just because I'm older. So I kind of matured a bit. I learned more patience and determination. So currently, I haven't been competing as much because I'm busy with APs, which I think a lot of other juniors can relate to. But I still try to find time through even a bullet game a day. I think as long as I'm playing at least a little bit, that's better than doing nothing.
I love how you're mentioning that you've been able to combine a lot of things. So your school, you're doing really great, I believe. In school, you're passionate
I would like
about
to think so.
okay, statistics, sports, so many other things. Do you feel that it was chess that taught you to be more strategic about things? Did you take from chess things that helped you to stay more organized in your life, to be able to combine everything? How would you describe a day in your life as a junior, or maybe before, when you were younger and you're able to take on different activities and combine them with school?
So I feel like chess actually does teach you a lot about life. I mean, I think Bobby Fischer once said chess is life,
Hmm.
but basically, you can kind of get poetic with it. Like, oh, if you make a mistake in chess, it's like, don't give up. You can make it up later. But I feel like in a more like basic level sense, chess has taught me like how to be determined when, for instance, you're studying and you don't really want to study, but like chess taught me to like persist through that, especially if I have like a minute on the clock and I'm like trying to like, really like push through that last challenging moment. So it kind of teaches you that determination sense. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you how to handle disappointment, especially since almost nobody wins every single game in a tournament. And if they did, then there was a point where they were not winning every
That's
single
true.
game. So I think it helps me bounce back from challenges, and it just also just helps me persist through challenges in general.
You're right. It's certainly the kind of game that teaches you that, especially because you, as you said, you cannot always win. Even if you win in a tournament all the games, it's not going to happen forever. There's always going to be someone who will eventually get to take at least a win from you, and getting over those losses is very important. Same in real life, we are encountering a lot of difficulties, right? And we have to learn to overcome them. and supposedly we should come out of that stronger. It might take longer for some than for others. I've also heard you mentioning bullet, that you try to
I
at
love
least.
bullet chess.
You do? Okay. How do you like that? Would you have a reason why you like bullet more than other kind of time controls?
So I think bullet, it's really funny because, for instance, if you're down a queen, but you have 20 seconds on the clock and your opponent has two, you can still win by time.
True.
Or like if you and your opponent both have 1 minute on the clock, and a lot of people do this, you just sacrifice a rook while checking the king, and the person has to think. And sometimes they run out of time. Or some people try to scholars mate. When I first started getting into bullet, I actually got scholars mated because I just didn't know they did that. But I think I like bullet because it's kind of like the chess equivalent of scrolling
I
because
see.
it's so quick. It's so quick and you're like thinking really, really fast. And also another reason why I like bullet is if I'm like waiting in a lunch line, I can like play a quick game. So
Okay.
it's like it's an easy way to squeeze chess into those idle moments, along with puzzles, of course. But yeah, I just think the rush and thrill of it's really fun, and also perfection is not as important as speed, which
That's true.
which makes it a little lower stakes. Yeah.
Would you say when you play bullet, you're actually trying to play some good openings, or are you trying to kind of take advantage of the little amount of time and play trick things like you mentioned, like someone played against you, the scholar's mate, or maybe I know a lot of people play, if someone is fianchettoing their bishop, they always go for bishop h6 and trying to get the bishop, things like
Yes.
that. Do you go
Yeah.
for the tricks, or do you actually go for the chess and trying to win the game?
Um, I never went for tricks.
Nice.
I always just tried to win the game. I guess I never really. I'm not a fan of trying to scholars mate in bullet or like do any of those cheap tricks, but I I've been experiencing them from other
Yeah,
players, so it's funny.
I hear you. I have my moments. I'm not the biggest fan of Bullet. Hopefully, whoever is listening to this will not stop listening at this point when I say that. But certainly, I do like to play Bullet the same way as I play Blitz, just trying to go for like a good game and trying to win the game with chess, not with the time. And a lot of times when I've been streaming, people have told me, Sabina, don't do that. You have to win because of the time, not because of the game. You're always trying that. That's why you're not increasing your rating. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. I do it for,
You're a
as you
bigger
said,
fan
the
of the strategic element instead of
exactly.
time. Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah. It's the thrill. I like the thrill. I like that it's fast. But I do enjoy creating. That's one of my favorite parts of chess, the creativity, and similar to how you mentioned earlier, the beauty of solving something. It's if I can get it even in a bullet game, it's very exciting.
Yeah.
So let's get into another very important topic, how the pandemic affected your life a little bit. And I understand that you had this beautiful idea of creating a nonprofit. I believe it's called Checkmate4Kids. You're the founder. Check,
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about how it got started and what are you doing with your foundation?
So, I think how it started, and this is always like my kind of like motto for, not really a motto, but kind of just a mantra in my brain whenever I do work for this organization. It's teach people to love chess, not to try to become the next like grandmaster or feel like they have to be perfect. So in other words, if I walk away and the child like doesn't know, maybe doesn't know it 100% the rules, or maybe they don't have a good strategy, but like they're having fun and they're enjoying it, that's more important than forcing them to kind of learn it. So when I was kind of reaching out and with various organizations to teach chess, I always kind of had that mindset in mind. And we started online in 2021. It started in 2020, but we began lessons in 2021. And it was really challenging to do it online. I'm not a big fan of online lessons for beginners because teaching the rules
Yes.
through a share screen is really difficult. But then when the pandemic kind of died down, I think in 2022, we started resuming with these lessons, and I knew to make it fun and engaging. So we kind of always like took breaks in between lessons, or we even watched a movie at the end. We watched The Queen of Katwe, which
Nice.
is a chess film about Fiona Mutesi, as you know.
Yeah, it's a beautiful,
And
beautiful movie, and I think it's inspiring
absolutely,
for a lot of kids to see it.
they
Searching
do find it
for,
inspiring. Yeah.
do you watch Searching for Bobby Fischer as well? Or
I actually, the only chess media like films I've seen are The Queen of Katwe and
oh,
The Queen's Gambit. I need to
oh,
watch.
okay.
I watched Pawn Sacrifice when I was really young,
Mm.
but yeah. But
Searching for
yeah,
Bobby Fischer, it's a nice one. There's just
yeah,
one part that maybe it's not depends the year of the kids, but it's a beautiful movie as well. Another inspiring story of the toughness sometimes of chess and how you can find the inspiration. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. And then yeah, and then we resumed in person.
Hmm.
I started doing more lessons, and yeah, each year, generally like during like holidays like Thanksgiving break or spring break or summer break, that's when I would like host like 5 day little pockets of time to teach. And we would always like pop in YouTube videos chess um of chess streamers and like films, and we would just make it really fun for the kids. And then in November, I kind of combined the whole idea of like promoting women in chess and just promoting people in general, and hosted a tournament where we had it was primarily targeted towards young girls. So we had a bunch of young girls competing against one another. It was like 2/3 girls and 1/3 boys, that may still seem like a lot of boys to people who aren't familiar with the chess gender gap, but that's actually a lot of girls if it's 2/3 girls. So that tournament went really, really well. It was really, really cool to see girls just playing against each other in between rounds, and just seeing like the tournament room just have girls in it, because in the last like 7 tournaments that I've personally competed in, I've competed against like 2 girls.
Hmm.
So like 50 games, and it's just like 2 girls.
It's nice to see that you started this program, and I agree with you. When you're first starting, especially with young kids, to teach them chess, it's much nicer to show them on an actual physical board in person. So
Yeah.
it's more comfortable for them. They get to play, they get to meet other kids, and uh, do you do you ever feel that they don't want to do it, or how do you keep them in the game? How do you keep them excited? I know you mentioned it's not about becoming the next genius strong grandmaster. How do you keep them
Absolutely.
exciting to want to play and learn more?
So inevitably, there are going to be people who pop up into the program because maybe their siblings doing it, or maybe they just were like, "Oh, this might be interesting," and then they do the first few lessons, and they just don't want to play.
Hmm.
And in that case, I generally try to motivate them by encouraging them to play with someone they're close to if they have family, or we do chess cahoots, or we do like, again, like chess videos.
Hmm.
So at least they can be engaged through that, because almost everyone finds that interesting. But at the end of the day, I understand that not every single person I'm going to be teaching is going to walk away and want to continue playing chess. And that's okay. I just think as long as I find a way to make it fun for everyone, then it should be all right within the pocket of time.
And what would you say is a schedule that you have for your foundation? Like, how often do you
I
meet?
would, yeah. So generally it would be like a 5 day, Monday through Friday,
Hmm.
and we meet for 2 or 3 hours.
Hmm.
If it's 2 hours, we do have a break, but it's shorter. And if it's 3 hours, it's like we give them a longer break.
Hmm.
But yeah, we generally do like some instruction in
Hmm.
the beginning after like an icebreaker, and then we do like playing, and we just play and watch
Do
videos
you do this
online.
weekly or just the
It's not
period?
weekly,
Okay.
but like in the summer, like it's just like a 5 day. It's
Hmm.
last 5 days. Yeah.
And I see you have a lot of when when we go. I went on your on the website of your
Yeah.
foundation, and I saw a lot of the people who are engaged in the foundation are actually other teenagers like yourself. What was the inspiration to keep it that way?
So mainly we actually target like 8 to 10 year olds, but I
Hmm.
remember in one of the programs I worked with Breakthrough Houston briefly,
Hmm.
I was teaching people who were my age or older, which I went in thinking they would be young.
Hmm.
So when I went in and they were actually older than me, I was like, this isn't awkward. So I had to like change the strategy a bit in terms of how I generally teach. Like, for instance, I show like Shiloh and Bros, which is a YouTube account. They created a chess in real life video, and I would generally show that. But I was thinking, well, these people are a little bit older, so I don't know if they find that as fun. I mean,
Hmm.
I still think it's fun, but anyways. So I was like, how do I make this a little bit more engaging for an older audience? And also, most of them knew how to play, which normally I teach to people who are new.
Hmm.
So I was just kind of shocked, but we found a way to make it work. We just, played and had pizza and it was fun.
How many of you are all together working for these 5 day camps or
These like
sessions?
little 5 day programs.
Yeah, the five.
The number of people varies significant not that significantly. Sometimes we have like 20 people at once. Sometimes it's like closer to 10. And sometimes it's like 5 or 6. So
Do they come
yeah.
back later? Do they try to stay in touch after the program that week is over?
We have like a link where you can like ask for lessons, and we had a few people ask for that, but generally speaking, no. I know that the goal is also just to get general exposure, just to know it's an option, because some people like they hear of chess and they're like, oh, never heard of it, and then they just forget about it. So
Hmm.
just having that initial exposure is good. And some people continue to play like on their own without the program, which is fine. But then at the same time, sometimes I come back to teach again. So, like for example, there's this program in Houston called where I live in Houston called
Hmm.
Baker Ripley, and I came back like after the summer to do like in Thanksgiving, and then I came back the following summer, and we did get some returners. And actually, the tournament I hosted had a lot of familiar faces of girls who were passionate and wanted to come back. And I remember hearing their moms say, "Oh yeah, after you taught them, like they started like playing on their own more, and they wanted to come back, and they thought it was fun." And that was just really, really cool. So yeah,
I think it's important to find ways to support girls in general. It's one of the
absolutely.
reasons why I wanted to host this podcast to learn more about how other women in the community are finding ways to use chess as a means to promote. It's just to engage other females, even if it's not female, but just to kind of like stay in the game, even if they're not competitive as players themselves. And I love to hear
Yeah.
stories kind of like yours, where you get excited, especially I can see when you're talking about the girls coming back and liking it, and it's nice to see that. I think we need more empowerment movements, and something small as to just introducing it could change something. And I know your organization is focused a lot on the more like the beginners, let's say, to
Yeah,
introduce
just teaching
chess.
in general. Yeah,
Yeah,
just exposing more people to it because we have 10% of the world playing chess.
of course, it's beautiful to see that. I know you are a junior now, and probably like you have AP tests, and you're thinking about colleges.
Yeah.
Where do you think the organization is gonna go? Do you have plans for it? As you go into college, it might be tougher. Did you think that far ahead yet, or?
So, short term, my younger brother also is a co-founder of Checkmate for Kids,
Hmm.
which is why it also teaches like general groups of people and not isn't just women in chess,
Right.
although it does both. But the plan is we're currently working with my school to like link the school to the program. So other chess players at my school, which there are a surprising fair amount of people who know how to play chess at my school. And we're like, hey, we have this organization where you can teach chess to other people. And we're just going to try to connect more students, particularly underclassmen, so freshmen or sophomores, to learn the game. And or even yeah, also if they wanted to come in but they didn't know how to play, we could do like training sessions just so they know the basics because we're all just teaching the basics. So then we would have them teach. We would recruit freshmen and sophomores, potentially from other schools as well, through like social media, and yeah, just give it to some other people, so that they can kind of pass the baton, inspire people.
I love that. It's nice, and I like that you kept the foundation with your brother, and you want to bring other teenagers to continue this passion, or well, maybe at this point, can I still call you a teenager? Is that a word still?
Yeah,
Maybe.
17.
Okay, all right.
Teen.
Teen. Okay, just
Yeah,
making
I'm a
sure.
teenager.
Like soon you'll be an adult. So I don't know. Like,
Oh yeah, oh boy.
with the English not being my native language, sometimes I want to make sure I'm not, making like using words that sound too childish or something. So
Oh no, no, of course.
awesome. Well, this is very inspiring. Tell me how you're managing everything with school now, and you mentioned these programs in the for the foundation are mostly held during breaks from school. Are
Mhm.
you still keeping up with all of the other things that you mentioned? Like you said, you got injured, so maybe not so much sport, but you said you're doing some music. And how do you balance everything in your life?
I'm not an expert at balancing everything in my life, but I guess it's kind of just the general idea of if school has priority. For example, if it's AP season, I'm not going to host a chess club meeting if
Hmm.
I have a AP exam the next day. But at the same time, it's like also knowing like when things kind of die down, especially during breaks, then I can always teach chess. I was also considering doing like a little weekend thing where we could teach chess for a few hours every weekend. And that would be a good time, like Saturdays when there's no school and Sunday I still have time to work. So I guess in general, it's just like, for example, I'm not going to be working on my organization like if it's the night before a test and a quiz,
Of course.
but if it's like that's not every day. So finding those days and working on the things that I enjoy, that's kind of how I roll there.
It's sounds like a very good plan. What's the next event that you will host?
I think lessons over spring break is the plan if I
Okay.
don't do something on the weekends. We were thinking about hosting another tournament. We actually hosted at our local chess studio. So, and it went really well, surprisingly well, I may add. So we are considering doing that over the break as well.
Is there anything else about the organization that I haven't asked you directly and you'd like to share for people who are watching, or people from your area, or someone else who might be in another state who is looking at creating something like you did, maybe another teenager? Any piece of advice that you'd like to give them
Piece of advice to someone who wants to do
to
something.
start to get started and create a similar organization as yours, where
Yeah.
you teach young kids, you introduce them to chess, you promote chess, maybe things that you've struggled with getting started, or any advice?
Yeah. So I actually started teaching pretty young, like in middle school. And I guess I just didn't realize how hard it is to teach something. It's like if you know the solution to a math problem, and then your friend's like, oh my gosh, how did you solve it? And then you're like, I don't know how to explain it. I just
Mm,
got it. It's kind of like that in the beginning. So I guess my advice to someone if they were doing teaching a skill is to practice and just practice teaching a little bit beforehand and have a lesson plan for sure. Definitely have a lesson plan. But also be flexible. Like for instance, if you're doing a 5-day program or even a weekend program, you might get a new face, you might get a face that's already familiar with chess, or you might get a constant returner. You just don't know what's going to happen. So just be flexible and understand that it's not going to go according to script. And sometimes it might go a little bit, some unexpected things might happen, but at the same time, they might be pleasant surprises as well. And yeah, so I guess those are the main things. And also that you will get better at teaching as you keep doing it. I noticed significant improvement in myself and my teaching as the years progressed. I learned from past mistakes and just got better each year.
I love your explanations. I can agree with you on that. I've struggled myself. You know, a lot of people think that when you're a strong chess player, you should be able to just get from the competitiveness of playing to going to teach. But it's not that easy. It's not that easy. You do have to have a lesson plan. You do have to be ready for changes. You, especially if someone is new, you don't know their level. You might need to teach them how to checkmate with the queen, or maybe you need to teach them how to checkmate with the bishop and the knight. You know, they're more advanced. Or maybe you just have to start showing them some openings or mates in two, or they're already able to do that even if they don't know. So it's I can certainly hear you, and I love that you are so positive about the experience of going through stages and not being so hard on yourself, but rather using it as a way to improve yourself and then being able to teach the next students in a better way. You have this tendency, the way you're explaining things, of taking your time. Do you feel, do you have like goals of becoming maybe later on a teacher, or do you have other goals in your life of what you want to
I
do?
guess my goal regarding chess is
Hmm.
I would also love to like enhance my like social media and kind of reach out in that way,
Hmm.
like give little tips online, which I've seen other masters do,
Hmm.
which I mean, I'm not a master, but I do have a goal that when I'm older and when I'm in college, perhaps I'll have more free time to continue pursuing competitive chess and potentially get a title, whether that's candidate master or national master or potentially higher. So I was always like interested in competing more. And in terms of teaching, I'm not really interested in being a teacher growing up.
Mm.
Also, it is so hard to teach full time. I think people underestimate how arduous of a task that is. Yeah, like there's this joke that, oh, students have 5 classes, but teachers only have one. So teachers have it easy, but that's not how it works at all.
That's true.
So my goal is just to pursue something in the STEM department, particularly through math or CS. But chess will always have some sort of influence in my life as I get older.
I love that. Well, talking about that, Evie, I know that you have a game that you'd like to share with the audience. Are you ready to get into it?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yes. All right. So tell me when you played this game, a little bit of background, who was your opponent, and then we'll get into it.
Um, yeah, so for context, I kind of got back into chess my sophomore year of high school. So this was one of my first games coming back in competitively.
Hmm.
And at the time, I was in an under 2000 division, but my rating at the time was around like it was around 1400. So, and I knew there were like 1900s in the tournament. And most of my opponents, after I win the first game or two, would be higher rated than me by a noticeable margin. So I went in blind with who my opponent was. I knew it would be probably a man, but I just didn't know his rating. I ended up playing against this adult because sometimes that happens. Like you get 11-year-olds paired against like guys in their 40s or 50s sometimes.
Do you,
And
do you ever get nervous if you're playing against a kid or an adult or male, female?
I'm playing against a woman catches me off guard because there's so few.
Okay.
But but at the end of the day, I feel like women play similar to men, I dare say. Some are really aggressive, some are more positional. Like it has a similar variance to men, but it throws me off guard because again, there's so few women who play. But in terms of men, I feel like whenever I'm playing against a young kid who I know is around my rating, I get scared because younger kids, I feel like their brains are a little bit more flexible. I mean, that's what I hear. So I just know that they're a little bit more also like energized as well in like passionate. So it's just the fact that when I go in and I'm playing against someone young, it scares me. But at the time I was playing against a grown man, and I remember I was white, which it's always nice because I again don't like openings. So having a bit more control in the opening as white was good. And I played the game, and I remember thinking like the guy like took his time. I remember he took more time than I did, which is impressive because I'm a really slow player. But then I remember I ended up slowly getting an advantage and then got a decisive checkmate, I dare say.
I love the checkmate at the end. So let's.
Yeah, he was like offering it. I think he was offering a trade, and then I just checkmated him. But anyways, and then I remember I came out of the tournament, and my mom was like, "You just beat the highest rated person in your division." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." My rating went up a lot from that tournament, but that was just a pivotal moment for me when I was competing. That was a real confidence booster. But yeah, sorry about
no. I was just very. I enjoy hearing as I'm also teaching these days. It's always exciting to hear the students explanations how they played, because like it is just seeing that excitement. It's I don't know. It just it feels nice to see the passion for the game. And I personally, I like to suggest not to look at the rating. Sometimes a lot of people these days are focused so much on rating, and I am guilty of that myself oftentimes.
Me too.
You're looking at the rating and it just makes you feel stressed. Like, why would you be stressed? It's a game. It's you against the opponent, and they don't have an external help. You don't have an external help. You have the 16 pieces each when you get started, and a time, and then you get to play the game, and you get to play what you know. And if you are careful about your position, if you're careful about your pieces, you might get a good game. And yeah, maybe you'll make a mistake and you'll lose, but maybe they will make a mistake, because nobody says that someone who's higher rated doesn't make a mistake, right? So I think if you try not to look at the rating, kind of like you played this game, maybe you'll find even more confidence in yourself to play the chess that you know, and just enjoy the creativity of it. But anyways, that's my advice. Hopefully,
it's good advice, especially if you're lower rated.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's get into the game. I
also have notes open from when I was analyzing the game myself.
Oh, great. So feel free to.
I'll let you know what I was thinking, like when I was like a sophomore.
All right. Feel free to take us through the game yourself, and I can intervene at times if you want. But feel free to take us to. Or you want me to?
We can kind of do it together, especially like the opening, because he played the French, but like I just played the advanced and then started like pushing my pieces forward because I don't know opening theory.
True. But yeah. But this is very interesting. So from my perspective, you're mentioning that you're not into opening theory much, and a lot of people who are not oftentimes go for e takes d5 or maybe knight c3. To my knowledge, because you are this one is something I see a lot. It's not really ideal because you are giving up the center and you are allowing the opponent to open up the bishop, and suddenly you have a symmetrical position. But knight c3, I find it happening quite often, actually. people who try to not study that much theory, but yeah, there is still, of course, a lot of theory because black can play this or this as main lines. And yeah, but e5 is nice. Your setup that you chose is also very positional in a way because you're going for this for the space. Do you?
Yeah, when I think of the French, I think of this exact position.
Okay, all
like
right.
this, like the one you have open right now.
Yeah, but this is your game, right?
Yeah, when I think of French, I think this.
You
And
like this?
also that playing e5 like keeps the light squared bishop trapped, which is
Yes,
very nice. That's a difference between that and like the Caro-Kann.
true.
So,
It's sad. It's sad for that bishop in c8 and a lot of defenses for black. Black is struggling with that bishop, so whatever you play,
yeah.
you need to find a way to get that bishop traded off if possible. And if black manages to trade it off, then you know they are happy. So here, after knight f3, our opponent played bishop d7, bishop e2, and f6. This is not usually, it is typical to play the move f6 occasionally. In the French, it's a typical breakthrough, right? But normally people in this particular position go for this more often, I think, right?
Yeah, I agree.
But this is another line where they try to get to break through the main center and then hopefully get their knight out, this bishop out. And even if they stay with the backwards pawn on the e file, they find ways to utilize the f file as a way to attack on the king side. So you ended up going for bishop f4, right?
I just have never seen f6 before.
Yeah, I normally I know it's a knight e7, queen b6 sometimes is played, but yeah, this seems like a natural approach what you've done, and then they went queen c7, and it's interesting because this is normally what black does because as soon as this bishop moves away, black tries to put pressure on that chain, but he played the queen c7, and then you normally castle. Did you consider any other moves? Do you remember if you consider maybe knight a3 or something here, or
I don't think I considered anything. No, I
oh,
think I
no
just
worries.
didn't know what was going on. I might have considered developing the knight, probably to
To
d2.
d2?
I'm not very comfortable with a3, but or at least I wouldn't have been at the time. But I just thought castling was a sensible option
Yeah,
here. So
yeah. You respect the principles you're developing. Yeah, knight a3 sometimes happens in this line where the knight could try to go towards d6, or sometimes people bring it towards c2 so that they have extra protection on d4. But I really liked your castle here, knight e7, and then you played bishop g3 with a cute little threat here to take on f6, right?
yeah.
And they went knight f5. How did you feel you were doing in this position at the time? Do you remember?
I think I was doing okay. I remember after I took the pawn, I I didn't know why I did that. But I think in this position I felt okay. Um, I did want to get the knight on f5 out because it's a strong knight, and also I know the knight generally ends up there and it's annoying for d4. Yeah.
It is.
So I think I played e takes f5 with the idea that if he doesn't want to lose material, he has to trade.
Yes, that's true.
But this does weaken my king a bit, I guess.
It does. Well, not really. It doesn't really. So this is fine for you. I was wondering if you considered this at all in between move.
Oh, no, I didn't. I did not see that at all.
To try to at least, yes, they're going to get their material back, but at least they won't castle for some time. They will castle by hand, yes. They will get the bishop out, the rook, and king g8 if they have time to. But I feel that you have the opportunity to capture like this. So contrary to how normally you capture towards the center, and I'm sure that's something maybe you get to the point of teaching when you're teaching the lessons you do. I think we always have to stop and think whether we have to go by the rule or the exception. I don't know how you are with those when you are teaching. I used to often, say the rule, but with time, my teaching has changed, and I always remind everyone there are a lot of exceptions in chess, and even when you think you know the rule, you should go for it. You should still take a moment to double check things because we almost never get the exact same position that we encounter in our, training.
Yeah.
So we should take a little bit. I like this position for white. I think you could have some nice attacking ideas with knight g5, maybe moving the bishop, bringing the queen, but a nice in between. Potentially, yeah. Okay. So you allowed that to happen, and you took with the h pawn. And do you feel that you get scared of like ghosts or something in chess? If you weaken your king a little bit, do you often get scared of attacks?
Yes,
Okay.
always. Also,
All right.
you don't know how aggressive your opponent will be, especially after castling. Like they can play, like an Italian version with like D3 instead of D4, and then you castle, and then they start attacking your king. And it's like scary because it's like, oh, I didn't know you were an aggressive player. And suddenly all their pieces are swarming yours.
I hear you. It is tricky. It is tricky. We, after all, the purpose of the game is to checkmate the opponent's king. So attacks would be the first thing we're worried about. But if they don't have the pieces, you may be weak, but if they don't have sufficient pieces to attack you, if you feel that it takes more than 3 moves to get to your king, I think you should be good to go. But it's much easier for me to say it than when you actually have the position. So
easier said than done.
Yes, exactly. So okay, then you played queen d2 to proceed with your development, and he castled long. Of course, he was probably starting thinking about how he's gonna potentially attack your king side, right?
Yeah, opposite sides castle. So generally, there's a attack or more aggressive play.
Indeed. And you play knight a3 here. I'm assuming this time you were ready to potentially go maybe knight there or c4 idea.
I was thinking knight c2.
You want to go knight c2. I was thinking to support c4 or knight b4. Okay.
Yeah, no, I wasn't thinking about that.
Knight c2 looks nice too. Maybe you wanted b4 or something, or maybe takes.
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Queen b6, and now you went knight c2. And he took. Did you feel comfortable in this position? Or do you feel you're getting better?
I felt more comfortable. I think Black's pawns like being more in the center kind of scared me a bit. But I think I felt okay here. I remember I don't like hanging pawns, so when I like play knight c2 originally, but I mean it's an instant queen trap, so I was okay. But other than that, I think
see.
I was okay.
Oh, okay. So you were like, oh, if they do this, I'm gonna trap their queen. That was your thinking process, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I originally, when I looked at your game, I thought this could be interesting to capture with a knight, because that's technically your worst place piece. But I was a bit nervous about this pawn push, and if you end up trading, I felt that Black was doing more than okay, because suddenly they have the bishop pair. This bishop might, come in here, rook g8. Maybe this pawn will be hanging, and you definitely do not want to allow the center. So your trade with the pawn, I think, was pretty good. In addition, you were probably looking at finding ways to open the position to attack your opponent's king. So it seemed nice. And then he played d5. And suddenly this pawn becomes a bit weak, but he's also trying to get a little bit of space. I personally wasn't a huge fan of that move, and I wanted to ask you if you considered at all trying to grab this pawn here.
I was scared of like the bishop f5 line, and then with queen takes b2. That doesn't justify king h1 though. I don't know why I played that. I remember when I was analyzing it, I was confused by that too. I think I noted protecting potential weaknesses from the pin, like the queen pin.
Yeah.
Still doesn't justify the move, but Or maybe I just didn't know what to do, and I think I fall into that trap where if you don't know what you do, you kind of just shuffle your pieces. Don't do that. But yeah, I think I was just really scared of this position because suddenly it's really open, and I just didn't really know what to do.
Yeah, Queen C4. I think with Queen C4 you should be fine keeping your knight
Yeah.
protected, and you should be good to go. Then the knight comes to E3, but I wasn't sure why you played King H1, so I was gonna ask you because you told me you were worried about things, but here in a way you are kind of placing your king on a
Open file.
half kind
I
of
don't know why I did
not
that.
exactly prophylaxis. We don't understand it yet, but it will work later.
It will be convenient when it's convenient. Yes.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Now your opponent got this e4, which is a bit annoying, because now
Yeah,
you
and he has a noticeable advantage here.
yeah, your knight has to go somewhere on the edge of the board, and it's not quite ideal. But then his development, I don't think it was necessarily the way he placed his pieces was not necessarily the best. So in this situation, for those of you watching, maybe Evie, hopefully you don't mind, I'm sharing this. But with the knight here in h4, ideas like this are very cool for black because your knight is stuck, you have nowhere to go, and then if I bring in my knight, you see that's why I was mentioning your king in h1, right? For me, this idea comes a bit in a nice fashion. Like I bring my knight, I try to trade. It's your bad piece, so normally we don't want to trade it. We want to win it, or we want to like keep it there. But actually, if I do bring the knight in g6 and I try to put pressure, I might find some way to try to reach your king. So I would have liked this idea potentially for black. Obviously, you don't need to take. Of course, you shouldn't take because
Yeah,
you
because
might.
then you take f6 and
Exactly. But I do like this kind of idea, and this is another cool thing that I like about chess, that oftentimes we feel that we know what we need to do, but even like there's a lot of counterintuitive ideas that are great that we're not thinking about because we're just like, no, there's no way that's working, but in fact, it does. So anyways, your opponent did not do that. He played bishop g7, which yes, he developed, but the bishop is temporarily restricted there, and I think
f5 maybe.
yeah, but
Yeah.
you played f3, I think, right? Yeah, you played f3 here to try to break through, and he took. And I thought this was definitely a helping move for you in this position, because you really want to find a way to get this knight into play, and your opponent was very kind to help you out. And f5 probably is the move that he should have played, and now it's more difficult for you. But he took, and I love that you took with the rook. You told me you're about 1400 when you play this game, and this is a cool idea because like normally you would think, oh, I need to bring my knight back into play, but you took with the rook, and I presume your idea was potentially to consider some rook lift, doubling up on the f file, maybe, right? Or
Probably doubling up on that file was my thought.
Okay, all right, very nice, very nice. Okay, did I skip any moments where you had extra notes?
No, I don't think. I only reference them if I can't tell what's going on,
Right.
like with the king move. So, yeah.
So now suddenly I'm liking your position quite a lot. He doesn't really have a way to reach your king, and you have the c file open. You can attack him. Like I said, I was thinking ideas like this, but you chose this a4, a5, which was also very nice kind of idea. You wanted to open up probably for this rook too. I think rook c3 would have been good, or rook c1, but
Should have moved the f-file rook, yeah.
Yeah, or here you had this check, and then your queen can come this way, and maybe you can try to, since you played a4, maybe you can try to trap the queen. So I would have considered the prophylactic idea first. Like it's not even prophylactic as it comes in with check, but I was thinking if something like this were to happen, maybe it could have worked out for you. I didn't calculate till the end,
Probably would. Then I just don't see the mate. I think that was the issue, because sometimes like whenever I'm analyzing a game and it's like I'm winning if I play this sequence and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't see where it would end up taking me. Like, for
Mm.
example, here I have the engine on, sorry, but it's like
Oh, it's
plus
fine.
3.3. And I'm like, well, yes, it obviously looks like white's winning, but I just don't see how I could break through.
See,
So I guess I just avoided this line.
see, this is my issue with with the engine. It's very easy to get distracted by it.
Yeah,
And
like rook c7, you
mhm.
sacrifice the rook, and then what?
Well, think
I
about
don't see it.
wait, rook c7. You're not sacrificing any rook.
Oh wait, no, wait, sorry.
Yeah,
Then I don't see it.
you're
My
covered.
bad.
You're okay. All good, all good. But no.
Yeah.
So like the thing is, this is something that I think it's tricky. Sometimes we feel we have a really good position and we want to uh, crush the opponent there. Like we want to find the win on the spot. And I think because of that, sometimes we're missing great moves because we want immediate immediate win, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it is tricky. I mean, I see a lot of ideas. I also don't see like an immediate win here. Certainly, may need some time, maybe some a6 later, and may like something like that. But it takes, or maybe actually, if you do have one more move to play a6, just to kind of play some random move, just to kind of show this cute mate, because I always love to show cute mates. This would be brilliant if it could happen, right?
This unfortunately did not
I
happen.
know,
But
I know, I know.
it's a beautiful
It's
checkmate.
it's a I always so my thinking process usually goes through ideas like this, and because I love creativity, as I told you, similar as you, I do spend a lot of time. I get in time trouble, I don't find it, and then I play some random move, and it's a blunder. So I can totally understand your you wanting to go with the a pawn forward and trying to create the weakness first, so that after that you can come with the pieces in a more aggressive way. And it did work out in a beautiful fashion by the end of the game. So we'll get to that, but. Yeah, like to me, I wanted to try to get this rook into play. I feel that since black doesn't have many pieces defending, it could potentially work. But oh, good. And then you play knight e3, king b8, right?
Yeah.
And here you played queen c3. I wasn't quite sure exactly what was the
Yeah.
the idea behind. Maybe you remember. You want to? I don't.
Nope. I don't have any notes for the rest of this game.
Okay, all good.
I don't know why I played Queen C3.
Oh, good. Maybe you are thinking, because I know you put the queen in b3 later. Maybe you just like wanted to put pressure on b7,
I should have played
like
B4
this.
first if I had that kind of mentality.
Oh,
Not
okay.
so my queen would be right in front of the pawn, but oh well. Yeah, I was probably thinking like bishop A6 or A6.
Yeah. The only issue
Maybe
with
thinking.
this is that with pawns like that, anytime you push one pawn, they can pass by you and they'll keep the position locked in. So
Mm,
it will be a bit tough with that. That's why I wanted the rook in first and the queen in behind it in a way. But
yeah.
yeah. And rook c7, and now this game is kind of cool in a way, because like you didn't leave this sad knight over there, you brought it into play, and that's something you should be proud of. Like, you notice there's a
Yeah,
bad piece.
it returned.
Yeah, and
And
then
it's gone.
yeah, very nice. And now you wanted to take that pawn, and he plays here potentially with like ideas of rook c1, I guess, and something.
Don't understand this move.
I wonder if he wanted to trick you somehow, like after that to go queen e6 and then some checks, and maybe, you know, some kind of mate like that. I don't know. But you didn't let.
There's no back rank though. I
There's
mean,
no.
F5, Queen H6. I just think it takes a really long time to set up.
Well, he depends what you play here, but if you're not careful, he might have this idea like with rook c1 first and then f5.
Yeah.
But you also have, you know, discover check queen. Like if they, so let's just pretend that you play here just like to, okay, that drops the bishop, but I
Hmm.
just wanted to I just wanted to kind of show that if they go away, you know, you'll have that idea. Anyways, this should be winning for you, I think. Yeah. Okay, but you played king g1, and another prophylactic
I was scared
idea,
of
right? No, I mean, you're
Yeah.
bringing the king on this other side of the board, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And finally, you got your a6 in, and you weakened the opponent's
Yay.
king. Yeah, that's great. Now you have a target. You have a targeted mate. And your next move here was pretty cute. Rook a5. You played. I mean, okay, maybe it wouldn't be something you think about immediately, but there's a weakness. So if you're not going to manage to checkmate your opponent immediately, you should take advantage of their weaknesses. And d5 is a weakness. And I don't know if you realized it or not, but from a positional standpoint, I really like that move. It's a really nice way of showing that you have an understanding of the weakness and you went for it. And yeah, this was the only moment that I wasn't sure why you didn't take the pawn. If I don't know if you remember or not.
Yeah, why didn't I take that? I don't know. Maybe I just I think oh wait, I think I remember. I think the idea was, well, the pawn's basically free.
Mm-hmm.
So I can like move my bishop and then take the pawn. Maybe I want to take with the other rook.
Mm,
Yeah, that might have been my idea, but I don't know.
I
Um,
see. Because
I think the idea was the pawn's gone no matter what.
mm-hmm.
So I guess something I have an issue with is I think avoiding captures makes me smarter, which isn't true. But I was like, oh, I can like intermezzo or something like
No, 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 no,
1400.
no, no. All good. I'm just. I
Yeah.
always like to hear, the different thinking processes because as I told you, I think to be a good teacher, and you already mentioned this earlier in the interview, you're learning from your own mistakes in your teaching because well, like we can know everything. So I always like to hear different levels of people talking about their thinking process because it could be things I'm not considering, but they're like great stuff. Just because just because the engine tells you that one answer, I don't like to just say that's the move. Like whatever else you say is not good. No, I think it's important to be encouraging for creativity. Chess is the kind of game that really gives you the opportunity to do that. So
Especially
yeah.
since the engine says
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And it's like sometimes it's not really a human move to think about, okay, that's the best move. I mean, maybe that is the best move, but also like if you have some idea behind and you had a thinking process going, like you didn't just randomly, threw a coin and was like white or black, just make a move. It's more thinking that went behind that, and I think that's really nice. And besides, your finish was really beautiful. So for those of you who are watching this, try to pause the video and find the finishing touch that Evie found in this game. Evie, I'll let you show the last moves.
Okay, so I played rook c5 and with the idea of attacking the queen. He moved queen e7. I took on d5 and he offered well, he didn't, well, I mean, that was probably his idea that I would take on d5 with the rook, but there's a mate on c8
Yeah, very
and
very
the
nice.
game instantly ended. Yeah, he was probably thinking I play rook takes d5,
Or maybe he
but
thought queen takes. Maybe he thought you would take with the
queen
queen.
takes, that drops the rook.
I know, but maybe he
Oh,
thought.
but
But you're still winning here, I
it's
think.
still winning. That's so interesting.
You have a mate there, so maybe I don't know, maybe this or
Oh,
something, or
wow.
maybe bishop
Yeah.
f3. You should still be winning. It's beautiful. That's why I told you I was very impressed with your rook a5. I didn't know what your rating was at the time. I found out right before the interview, so now I know, and very impressed with that move. Your creativity for this finish was definitely on point. And you see,
Yeah,
bishop g4.
thank you.
It was a great help. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just keep
Don't be hard on
practicing.
yourself. I would cry when I was younger if I lost a game.
You're not
But
the
no,
only
I'm
one.
just like, okay, I lost. Oh no. And also don't be scared of for people who do have a rating, don't be scared of your rating going up or down. Because there's like this one guy I would play against, and he would always offer draws and then like analyze how many rating points he'd win or lose from the draw. And I'm like, that's just not a fun or fulfilling way of doing it, I feel.
Mhm.
Just don't really stress about rating. Sometimes your rating will go down from a tournament. Mine has, but
As long as you
kind of just
enjoy.
play. And yeah.
As long as you enjoy it, it's good. Um,
Yeah, as long as
Last question regarding your so you've done this research with Final Four, and it's been a while since you competed. So in 2017, you competed in the Super Nationals. Do you feel that the numbers of girls who are in chess these days has grown ever since, in your opinion?
definitely, like as of recently, yes, I would say so. Especially with these movements, and also for me, seeing other women in chess, like whether it's fictional or real life through streamers, there's definitely women out there, and they have a presence online. So I think other girls seeing that would be inspiring, and also at the same time, just overall movements, like movements. It sounds like historical, but organizations or like initiatives to promote women in chess, just more awareness about it in general. And also with the idea of those like stereotypes of women being dumb, like those are very minimal, if even present. That's definitely increased the amount of women. And I mean, in a local setting, no, I mean, I'm generally the only girl in a division sometimes, but I still see women around.
Mhm.
And I have female friends who show up to our chess club meetings. So I would say we got some girls.
So we're doing better. Anything
We're
else you think we
definitely doing
should do so that we can have an even bigger presence, in your opinion?
it. I think
Sorry, I put you on the spot there.
I'm just thinking about like how like guys,
Mhm.
there's like this one guy at my school who used to like he still does like he plays really really competitively, and like he's really high rated. But then I remember he was we went to a tournament together like as a school team thing, and he like had so many connections to other players, like he knew their names, and I was just like wow. And part of that is because he competes a lot,
Mhm.
but at the same time I feel like he was like close to them because again like guys to guys. And I just feel like women, like if you I feel like just don't be shy. If you see another girl, like go up to her and say hi and try
Mhm.
to talk.